I would now like to just give everyone a bit of an insight into the experience of families being involved. So I will ask Becca, I think, and maybe Chris will join at some point, but I'll hand it over to you, Becca, to share a little bit about your experience of having Jacob in the class. Um, your experience as a parent.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Becca O'Hara. My husband, Chris O'Hara, and I have one child at Frassati Academy, but we also have two younger children. So we have a 2-year-old, a 4-year-old, and then our 5.5-year-old is in primary. His name is Jacob. And so my husband is putting the other ones to bed right now. So sorry if you hear a screech in the background or something like that. Hopefully not. Um, so our journey with Frassati Academy goes back to my husband has had a devotion to Pier Giorgio Frassati for many years, back to the days when Halifax had the Frassati households that took the patronage of Frassati, and so has always loved Pier Giorgio Frassati. And then about, I would say, gosh, I guess 2 years ago, 18 months ago, something like that, we really started thinking about how is our family going to tackle the big question of education? Because in many ways, we'd heard a lot of stories um, of people who were dissatisfied, friends of ours who were dissatisfied with the public education system here in Halifax, and we just weren't really sure what to do. And so we were praying about it. We were thinking about, did we homeschool? Did we try to find some kind of Christian school that would be a good fit for our family? Can we afford a tuition? Can we, what would that all look like? And we started hearing more and more rumblings about this potential that maybe somebody was going to start a Catholic school. We started hearing about these Tuesday rosary calls, and so hopped in a couple of those to just get a sense of, is this going to pan out? Is this going to happen? But one of the things that really formed the decision for me on, are we going to take the leap? Are we going to try this new kind of emerging school that nobody really knows what's going to happen? How is it going to go? But one of the things that really sealed the deal for me was my husband was reading a book last year that I just looked up the title. It's by Monsignor James Shea, who's an educator himself at the University of Mary in North Dakota in the US. And he wrote a book called From Christendom to the to Apostolic Mission. And it basically just talks about the age that we're in and the world that we live in, and how do we form people in a Catholic imaginative vision. And as my husband was reading this, he would like stop what he was reading and read parts out loud to me. And there was one part where Monsignor Shea in this book just talks about how a Catholic worldview is not some optional add-on to our life, and then there is a whole, aspect of society, especially in a public school system, where religion is treated like an optional add-on. If you've got it, great. If you don't, no big deal. We don't really deal with that. And something about that just cut to my heart. And I said, our faith is not an optional, it's not an optional add-on to our lives. It's not in our family life, and it can't be in the education of our kids either. And so as soon as we realized that Frassati Academy was opening, and we looked at the teachers and the people who were going to be involved, we just knew that this was truly an answer to prayer. Between the fact that it was literally named after Pier Giorgio Frassati, who we loved and had such a devotion to for such a long time, and that it was opening the year that my son started going to school for the first time. The timing was perfect and everything. It felt really providential. And our experience over the last, I guess, 8 months or so has just, we're blown away because so many of the things that I wondered, is my son going to adjust to school well? Is he going to like the classroom? He had some daycare experiences over the years that weren't too great. Are we going to do okay? But the adjustment was completely smooth and seamless, because I think it's like people mentioned, it really does feel like an extension of the dinner table, right? These are small classes. They're teachers who know us, and who talk to us about everything that's going on in his day. His teachers know and love him. He's always talking about Miss Lightfoot and Mrs. Irish and how much he loves them and how much they teach him and how encouraging they are and how they're just guiding him so seamlessly in those little, in the true educational kind of pieces. Like his math is really impressive for a kindergartner, and he's learning to read, and we're so impressed with like the academic side of it, which is, not such a big deal when you're in grade primary, but we're even more impressed just with the way that he talks about his faith, the way that he knows that God made the world, and God gave us this beautiful creation and he asked us to care for it and he asked us to care for each other and our community and that God lives in everyone, you know? It's just become what I hoped. Sorry, I'm laughing at the comment. Jacob will be in grade 8 next year. His math's not that good. It's pretty good, but we're gonna have to work on that a little more. But it's really has been everything that we hoped for our son, which is that um, we wanted him to be in a place where faith is not an optional add-on to life. That faith is the central way by which we see the world. That the Christian worldview and the Christian anthropological view of the world is how we operate, and that's what we want for our kids, and we want this to be normal for him. People say that what oh, I forget the phrase, but when faith we want our faith to be normal for our kids. Culture is whatever people think is normal, right? So we want to pass on that Catholic culture, that just the reality that this is just who we are. And so we love Frassati Academy. We love everything that our son has experienced there, and we're counting down the years until we can send our 4-year-old to primary someday soon. We're very excited for that in the future, and she is very excited as well to someday go to Frassati Academy too. So we truly love Frassati Academy, and my husband and I would be very happy if there's anyone on the call who's thinking about it or would like to talk to a parent. We're always happy to chat and promote Frassati Academy because it's just been such a wonderful experience for our family.
Wow, thanks, Becca. Yeah, I really appreciate you and your leadership and support and being part of the community and also part of this endeavor in such a intentional way. So you and Chris are a blessing to us, and yeah, thank you for those kind words.